So, hello everyone. So, my name is Sasha, and the other guy who is still not here, that will be my brother Dominic. And nice to have you here. So, it's nice to see men, who still are interested in to understand what basically the masculinity would be, at least from what we offer, the biological perspective. So, our course, the interactive webinar we created about masculinity, is all about this biological perspective. So we approach this subject of masculinity from biology, which basically is a part of what my brother and I do. So this course was shaped by years of medical education and clinical experiences. So now, for more than over 25 years, both of us have been helping people improve their health, but also their lives, physically, psychologically, and everything else. So in our work, one thing became increasingly clear that the body and the mind are never truly separate. You can't separate them. Yeah. What affects one will always affect the other one, the other levels. And so over many years of working closely with patients, both men and women, we could see patterns, yeah, becoming more and more clear, especially in women's life. So we realized it in women. Like many recurring physical and emotional complaints were closely connected to unresolved tension in relationships, often rooted in a deeper misunderstanding uh, of the true nature of both of us, of woman and man. And this led to the development of this course. Basically, first, the FREYJA course, which was designed for women to explain the biological nature of man in an easy, uh, accessible way to women. And this was not through opinions or ideology or modern narratives. It was through biology and evolutionary science. And this is how FREYJA was created. So this program for women that help women to understand the nature of man and the dynamics between man and woman on a much deeper level. So FREYJA was now running for many years. We have it multilingual, like English, German, Croatian. Now we have it in Hungarian and Spanish. And yeah, I'm still impressed, with these results. They're really remarkable. And so it helped women to see men in a different way, to understand relationships and also the woman themselves much differently. And with that, by understanding, adding a biological perspective, giving a woman a whole different perspective, basically the communication of woman towards men changed. And for women, things improved, the health and everything around that. So, men, of course, men have also been a part of our work. I see my brother joined. Hi, Dominic. And also, men approached us with their own struggles, their own suffering, their own physical and psychological complaints. Yet, when we viewed through a biological lens those issues, men came to see us, one thing became always quite clear. The underlying causes were uh, fundamentally different to those of women. But it also became clear that men and women uh, can't be supported in the same way as their underlying causes are biologically different. So you will, when you work with women, many difficulties women have are coming from relationship issues. The tension in relationships. This makes biological sense. For a woman, relationships have always carried survival value. The woman's biology is strongly oriented towards connection, security, and social stability. While in man, the origin of many problems is usually a whole different area, a whole different topic. It's not about relationship. Yeah. So uh, men struggle more as more we basically distance ourselves from our biological nature. For a man, relationships should never be the center of a man's life. Men have never been designed for that. So a man's inner stability depends on direction, purpose, responsibility, competence, and the experience in, you know, acting, building something beyond ourselves. No? So when a man loses this direction, this connection, and this is quite often shaped by, this modern society with the modern expectations, social conditioning, um, basically conflicting ideas what a man should be. Then we'll start having difficulties in mental and physical health. Mostly first it starts mentally, then physically, and that also will affect the relationships. And this is where we started to shape WODAN. So long before it became an idea or a concept, it was the response of a growing need that we have been already witnessing for more than 25 years. Yeah. So all type of men would reach out to us. The men who came to us, they haven't been the weak ones or the men who have been failed. Yeah. They were ordinary guys, like, men who carry responsibilities, the fathers, the husbands, professionals, uh, where men basically did what they believed was right and still sensed that something within them was no longer fully in the right way. So over time, uh, one observation returned again and again. Yeah, the outer circumstances, they were always different, but the underlying pattern often felt remarkably similar. It's always the different men, different ages, different countries, different cultures, religions, traditions. It's basically different lives, different personal histories. But beneath the surface, it was this striking similarity, for this inner tension which appeared in men again and again. So to go a little bit more to define it more precisely, it is very often there are no real clear words for what those men lived or experienced, but the consequences of that became visible through time. And that was mostly like less of the inner clarity, less energy, uh, a growing sense of irritation, like this heaviness, yeah, inner restlessness, yeah, without any obvious reasons. Yeah. So those men, they continued functioning, at least it looked like outwardly, yet inwardly, they didn't feel stable in the way that they used to. And as more my brother and I have been listening, the clearer it became. Yeah. In many cases, uh, it was the signs of growing, of the growing distance from the male biology itself. It's not the illness in a classical sense. It's not weakness. It's basically this gradual loss of alignment with all the conditions under which the male stability uh, naturally would develop. You see, modern life offers or gives so many expectations, many roles, many ideas of what a man should be. Yet, all these ideas and what basically is demanded by a man from modern structures is not really in harmony with the nature of a man. And when the distance becomes too big, then the consequences appear quietly. At first, like we said, mentally, physically, and it will be realized by everyone. You know, all the people around the man will notice it. And like we said, beneath all this, it was, uh, yeah, let's say the death of the natural man. So this is what we are working on. We want to show you what the man biologically was made for. So the first step in WODAN, before we basically start talking about, the roles, the expectations, the modern expectations, will be looking at the biological foundation of the man. We look at the anatomy of the male body, what was it made for, the physiology that shaped it, the neurological structures that influence how man basically experience the world, how we perceive, how we react, how we think, how we endure. So, how have been made by nature, by biology, with all these abilities or not abilities, which we are mostly not even aware we don't have them anyway. So, what we are basically doing, we are showing you the blueprint, the biological blueprint of your being. And from there, basically the following question would be that how to make use of these abilities of the male biology. So, what role was traditionally made for the man in nature? Not as an ideology, not as some kind of a social theory, but as clear consequences of what biological or what nature made made us for. Yeah. And once we understand it, then it started becoming, understandable and meaningful. Yeah. And how modern life um, can destroy our nature and with that our masculinity, our life itself. If we do not align with it, like if we ignore our biology itself. So, like I said, many of those tensions men described are usually discussed. Yeah. And a lot of those things they start in early ages. Uh, Mostly when we are supposed to develop our masculinity, this is where our society basically already starts taking it away. So we basically are reprogrammed by our society. And most of us, even if we feel we do not trust ourselves anymore. And so you see, WODAN or the course we called WODAN, it does not doesn't give any solutions. It really starts with understanding the male biology. Step by step, the course moves from biology to function, from function to orientation, and from there to the practical consequences that will become visible in everyday life. A lot of those things become clear immediately. Others only once you see the right biological context. So what matters, uh, this Wodan course, it doesn't give you any answers immediately. Yeah, but will help you to have a more biological view. Yeah, which mostly was never practiced, was never given to you. Like we said, many things men experience today are, if discussed at all, they are just on a surface level. You know, the stress men would have, the uncertainty, the tensions, energy, difficulties in relationships, difficulties in maintaining this inner clarity and all that. Yeah, but we have to go much deeper of that. Yeah. So for us, the most important part is to help you to understand your own nature. Yeah. So no ready-made conclusions. Yeah. As every one of us is living a unique life. Yeah. We can't give you answers for your life. But once you understand the nature, the blueprint of your being, then if you use your male brain, which the male way of using the brain would be rational, logical, then you would come yourself for the best solution in your case. And a lot of those things maybe sound familiar, you know, some parts may confirm what you've already sensed for years without having basically the words for. Other parts may challenge all your beliefs, your ideas, which you have taken as grounded. And both of that would be a part of the process. And like we said, this course is not about agreement that you agree with us or not. Yeah, it is what we are looking for is the willingness uh, of you to look carefully at everything, to think clearly, and allow questions to be examined from a perspective that is missing in today's life. And this is why the course was made, you know, step by step. Yeah. And once you see it different, things will start making sense. So our aim is not simply to explain, but to help you to build this understanding in a way that allows your knowledge to become an orientation. So the orientation can become the action. Okay. So this is what a course is for, to show you your true nature. So to learn about yourself, the abilities you have, which was given to you by nature, how to recognize them, how to learn to use them. Okay. Good. So meet my brother Dominic. And yeah, I hope I could give you an idea. Now, if you have any questions.
Hello, everyone. And my way of explaining what it is about to do the WODAN course is basically like getting a driver's license. So there is a lot of people using the highways and the streets, and not all of them have really understood how to drive. We can see that every day on accidents and stuff, what happens on the road. So basically, what we do is we introduce you to your body, to your existence as the man. We explain you what kind of a vehicle you have and how to use it the best possible way. And quite often, people are asking us if it's going to be like, if there is situation A, then the answer should be B, C, D, or whatever. No, no, no. You will just have the understanding why this situation came about, what happened, that this situation was coming into your life, where did you chose the wrong exit, and what you have to do to go back on the road you are aiming to go to somewhere. So basically, it's a course which is going to show the men how they should live their biological existence, and therefore you will always know what to do. So it is a course you have to be willing to learn about yourself. It's a course you have to understand that whatever the society tells you is not always meant to make sense for you as the man. But when you understand your existence, you will always understand what it is you have to do to hold your position as the man.
Mm.
And we had quite often, like in the classes we had, they told us in the beginning, like, oh, we thought there's going to be some answers of how to deal with certain situations. No, no, no. You have to understand the whole biological background of it, and then you will find all the answers within you by understanding the laws you have as the male part in a relationship in your existence. So where is the benefit of this course? It's basically just to understand what it means to be the man you have been born as. It's gonna help you to understand what you have to do in your job, in your relationship, in your part, in everything you are connected with other people, including what you have to do for yourself. So you'll understand what your goal in life should be from the biological perspective of life. And then you can choose if you want to have a comfortable life or if you want to live the truth of the male gender. So is it easy? Well, it seems to be a little bit harder than most people expect. Otherwise, everyone would do it correctly. So we wouldn't need this course. But our experience tells us that there is so many men who are, well, unknowingly being men as someone else's wishes them to be. So, and this is why we need this 8 weeks to explain, first of all, what a man is in this modern society and what it takes to forge the man you are supposed to be. And then, like Sasha said, you have to understand the biology of a man because it is so different than the biology of a woman. And if it's different, then the purpose of our existence should be different. So you will understand what should drive you as the man. And the next week, well, it's about your purpose of existence, where you figure out what a man is supposed to do with his life. And then you will also have the understanding of your, let's say, the structure, which produces your strengths, but also your limits. And then one big part is your understanding of you as the man and understanding the female nature. So it is very important that you understand that you as a man are supposed to be living as a man so that a woman can really exist as a woman. So, and therefore, Sasha's part is also to explain you about the women. What are women? Why they are so different? And you will understand it of the female biology. And then, yeah, the female nature is going to be so much easier to understand. You will understand what is it they respond to and why. And then you will understand what we call the dance of the polarity. So how to be the complete version of humans by being what you are supposed to be. So yeah, it is a course which if you do it, you will understand what you have to do, but you also will understand what you missed how to do and why the situation changed into whatever it changes and what you have to do for. So, in short words, we are working so long with a different kind of men that basically it is by understanding the nature of the man very possible to avoid a lot of conflicts, a lot of problems you can have as a man. And we have it from the people who have been discoursed before. They say that they have so much of more peace and more satisfying relationships. So the only thing we can offer you is to get the knowledge. But it is you who has to commit to learn. Even you might feel like, oh, who are these two to tell me what I am supposed to be as a man? No, no, no. We won't tell you what you are supposed to do because you should know it from yourself. Our job is basically just to give you the knowledge out of nature's understanding. So it is basically just waking up the man who is inside of you, the one who has been silenced by, yeah, the society we live in, by beliefs, by people who do not want your masculinity to come up. But as long as you are hiding your masculinity, you won't be able to show your qualities that come with it. That would be my kind of explanation, what it is about. And it's up to you if you want to change your life. And if you do, well, everything is going to change because you are going to change as the man. So everyone is going to see you different.
Yeah, maybe I can tell the boys like how we're going to do. Like we said, week one, we go into the blueprint of the man. And I like the analogy with the driving license. Having a driving license just gives you the permission to drive, but it doesn't say you can drive. And I would go with the computer because we are in this modern age. So I would say before we ask who you have become, we should first have this look to understand how have you been designed. So, and it's like with these computer devices and all that. Uh, when the computer doesn't work properly anymore, where do you start? With the latest app? Or would you look down to the operating system underneath? Yeah. So in our society, most men, they spend years working on their confidence, discipline, relationship, success, communication. And if you stay in the computer world, that would be basically they keep updating their apps. Yeah. And not a lot of us ask ourselves, what is the operating system I'm actually running? And this is where WODAN begins. So every man enters his life with this original biological operating system. Let's call it the biology OS version 1.0. Yeah? And that would be the foundation, you know, before culture, school, social expectations, or other people's opinion or anything would be added on. Yeah. But over time, we would have these new versions installed, like family expectations become V1, version 1.1. School and education becomes version 1.2. Yeah. Social, religious, ideologies and all that. And for sure, some of those updates can be useful. Others create conflicts with the original system. And sometimes men spend years trying to repair themselves. While the real problem was simply that, this software was not really made for the original hardware. Yeah. And this is what we're going to do in the beginning. We go back in the foundation. We look beneath all those updates and explore the original design of the male. Yeah. Not like we said, not what society expects, not what you have been taught, what you have been learning to pretend to be, and all that. So I think once we understand the biology OS version 1.0, then we can recognize what is it we really want to work on and what to install really. Huh? So, like I said, most of us men, they try to discover where the problem is and improve before trying to fix something which basically was never broken. We have been just running the wrong updates. Anyway, the second week we go into let's call it the drive of the masculine. A man, he can have talent, he can be intelligent, he can be strong, he can have all these opportunities. But if there's not this masculinity, this acting force, then nothing really will happen. And this is where we're gonna go into looking where does it come from? Like what pushes the man to pursue, to compete, to build, to improve? Yeah. And this is how it should be. A man, he should have this idea, whatever in his head, and he has to have this drive to turn it into something real. Yeah. So this is basically the week 2. We look at the most powerful programs which have been biologically already installed. Yeah. Because we know the energy man can create for like the force and all this competitive nature and all that. It was made for a purpose, you know. So that's the second week, the drive, where does it come from? And then we go into week 3. We could say that's all about the purpose and the motivation, like, like a powerful engine. Yeah. It's quite useless if we don't know, like, what's the goal of it? What's the destination? What's the purpose? And I would say that's pretty same for the man. Yeah. Many men, they are not really lacking energy and for sure not really lacking intelligence, not ambition. But most men are this almost like without a map, you know. As so, in our world, society tries to give us up maps and all that. But biology gave it already with the version 1.0. Anyway, uh, a man without a purpose, yeah, uh, he does everything right and all, and how to say it in a better way. A man without a purpose is often mistakes movements, the acting as a progress. And this is what our society does. It keeps us busy. We work harder. And pushes us to consume more. Yeah, and gives us directions. We have to chase. But most of us, we feel like not progressing. Why? Because motivation doesn't create purpose. It goes the opposite way. Purpose creates motivation. And when men know exactly what they are made for, what to go for, what to strive for, then the motivation becomes less important. The man then has a reason to move. It's not about, how to motivate yourself for today. Yeah. So motivation is not what keeps us going. So in the third week, we explore why purpose of a man has always been the strongest force in a man. And, where is this purpose lost in some of men? So this week is about giving you this biological compass, which should help you to give you direction and with that, the energy. And we'll also go into why modern life makes it surprisingly easy to lose those directions and why so many men end up pursuing goals that have never really truly been their own goals. in life. Yeah. So that's probably the week we're gonna ask ourselves, like, what is it I really want in life? Yeah. No, I would say the better question would, um, what would be worth detect, how do you call, like, detecting your life to? You know, what would be worth giving your life for? That's much better. So, and I would say once a man finds this purpose that is worthy of him, then everything aligns by itself. You know, discipline, you don't need discipline. It's a part of it. Motivation, no need it. You know, the way your goal, your purpose, everything is there. So every step will align. Yeah. So week 4, oh, that's about your limits. Yeah. And the strengths, the structure. Yeah. So in our society tries to tell us that freedom would have no limits. But nature gives a whole different story. Every powerful system always has a structure, and everything has a structure, has limits. You know, like a tree without roots, it will fall. Yeah, a river without banks, which gives basically the limits there, it will become a swamp. Yeah. So even the strongest steel, yeah, becomes useful only if it gets a form. Yeah. So why should be the life of a man different? Yeah. So we will question all of these new ideas we are taught, which would give us strength and freedom and all that. Yeah. Things we just accepted, never thought through. Yeah. And we will ask which one does serve us, which one kind of moves away from our nature. So this is all the parts my brother basically will cover with you. Then we reach week 5. That's where I step in. I explain you the nature of a woman. But don't worry, uh, I can't explain you the woman itself. I can only explain you the nature of a woman. I really believe a woman can't explain a woman itself. So why should I, as a man, be able? But see, the goal is not to understand a woman. The goal is just to understand the nature of a woman. Yeah. And once we have this understanding, then we have a better idea how to handle this creature called woman. And not to manipulate a woman, not to control a woman, not to change a woman, just simply to understand the creation you are dealing with. Hmm? And like my brother said, nature created man and woman differently. Yeah? Not because to make it more difficult for us to live, but to make life possible. So week 5 is all about understanding the principles behind the female nature. Yeah. And once you understand them, you stop fighting it, you start working with that nature. And I can promise you one thing, by the end of that week 5, you still won't understand woman. Yeah. But you'll understand the female nature well enough to know how to handle a woman. Yeah. With far more confidence, clarity, and respect for a woman. Week 6 is understanding the female body and mind. Yeah. So this goes deeper layers. Yeah. Uh, a lot of us have experienced women in a way when a woman does something, and then we look at it and they say, wow, that doesn't make absolutely no sense. Yeah. So this is where we're gonna look at women, and realize what they do it out of their biology. So the problem is that we as men, of course, can look only through our own eyes. And if we value woman's behavior through a man's eyes, then everything becomes quite irrational. Yeah. So It's really about understanding the nature. Man and woman are not the same. Nature didn't make us same. It made us two opposite poles of the same, different, and each one designed to complement the other one, like the north and the south pole of a magnet, like the positive and negative terminal of a battery. Yeah, opposite don't weaken each other; they create strength, and this is why we have been made in this way. Anyway, so it's really about understanding. And then the second part of the same topic, understanding the female. So once we really understand, there won't be any disappointment anymore. Yeah, there won't be wrong expectations. It will become basically everything quite clear. Yeah, and women will become, not the woman, but the nature of women will become surprisingly predictable. Yeah? It's not because women are predictable, but nature is predictable. So it's all about learning the biological principles behind the female perception, emotion, behavior. Again, it's all about biology. Okay. And the last meeting, that's what we call just the dance of polarities. This is where we kind of talk everything once more through. So I hope I could give you an insight of the 8 weeks.
If
Who?
the female part did not do the FREYJA course, is it still beneficial? Something like that,
Sure.
right?
Say it more simple. The Freya course was created just to for women to understand the nature of a man and how to communicate with a man so he would understand what she wants, basically, what her to learn to communicate her needs, her wishes, ideas, whatever it would be. So it's more phrase about communicate. It's really about communication to a man. Okay, and uh, no, it's not needed. Your wife didn't need to go to the Freya course. So like I said, the only benefit of the Freya course really would be she would, by the end of the course, she would know how to communicate better with you. But here it is all about you understanding what you have been made for by nature. Yeah, it will give you a better understanding, and by understanding, making decisions out of a clear, rational understanding uh, should help you in your life, no matter what it is. Is it, it's not about relationships, because in our opinion, women need relationships. Yeah, this is why the Freya course was about relationships, but men do not need relationships. So for a man, a relationship should never be important. So it doesn't really matter. The course is not for you to become better in a relationship. The course is for you to become more of what nature made you to be. And if you become more of what nature made you, then everything will align. So also your relationship will become better. And they won't become better only with your wife, they will become better with everyone. So by time, other people will sense the masculine energy. It's hard to describe, it's not like our society tells, oh, a real man acts this way, he's so stoic, he's this. If you do that, especially in a relationship, if you become the stoic guy, you destroy the relationship. It doesn't work this way. It will be good, but no need.
FREYJA course makes a woman more feminine, and the WODAN course gives the man the understanding of the biological
Purpose.
existence of a man, the purpose of a man. So for women, being more feminine is what the men are looking for, and this is what she can provide the man. But a man should be a man, so the woman is interested in him in general.
Oh, yeah, right. Maybe that's an interesting point. It shouldn't be, but
Yeah.
some of the ladies whose men did the Wodan course, they said after the men did the Wodan course, um, the woman felt more attractive to their own men again. Yeah. They wanted to have even more sex after the Wodan course.
Yeah. So first you need to learn the basics of your biological existence. And when you have the basics, then you will get homework, and this homework will give you more deeper understanding of about yourself, and this is going to make your guidance to walk your own path. So it is going to be more like you will get a compass for your own individual reason of existence. So, but in the beginning, you just need to have like the basic informations to understand to have more a clear understanding of why nature made you this way. And out of this understanding, you put everything together. So you will always know what your reason of acting is.
I have children myself, three kids and four grandchildren. So if you ask me how to raise boys and girls, they have to be raised differently as their biology is different. So let's say this way, if you have girls, uh, hmm, girls, the feminine has to be protected, but while the masculine has to be forced. So, and that would be your job. So you have to know yourself. Basically, you have to understand the limits of your children, which are defined by age, by the skills, by whatever, and you have to get them to the edge. Be not let them fall down, but they have to feel the edge. So that would be in a simple way how you have to raise boys. Doesn't matter in what area. And like in sports, you have to come to the edge, otherwise you don't know your potentials. And this is how boys have to be raised. But you can't raise children by words. Yeah, children copy. So what they need to become real men is someone they can look up to, and that in general should be the father itself. Yeah. And this is how the father responds to his surrounding, basically towards other people, especially to the woman, to the wife. So that all plays a role. So it won't be an overnight turn. But what my brother said, I would agree absolutely with him. So our idea is to make you this biological man, a top biological man. And this is a whole different thing than our social top man. What the one we like to call the alpha male or something. You know, so the modern alpha male, he's collecting, likes and followers, and he's liked by everyone, and he's looking all about, he's doing his status and all that. But the biological man goes more by this old saying, um, like the alpha, they don't play well with others. They're nice and kind as long as you are behaving well. Yeah. But that's also, someone you take serious. It's like it won't get you followers.
Nope. We have
Yeah.
a lot of women who said that when their husbands or their partners started with the WODAN course, after a while, they didn't like the change they saw in the communication between um, the father and the boys. But after a while, all of them said like
It
they
improved.
they still don't like it, but they approve it because the boys they are so more confident and they are so more happy, and they like to be in company with their father more than before. So yeah, it is the difference in a woman's understanding of how to raise a child and how a boy should be raised from the perspective of a man. So
Two opposite ways.
yeah, it is two different, but for the boys, they prefer a father like this, where how he becomes when he is on the WODAN course. If it is necessary to have a woman who has been on the FREYJA course, no, but if she has, well, she'll better understand that her son is basically a young man and he is supposed to learn how to be a man. Because women, they're great to raise kids, but they're
Children, babies, toddlers.
yeah, they're raising kids, and no woman has ever raised a woman or a man. And by
Yeah.
their best intention, a woman is only, well, her own life experience is basically being a woman. So she can only give the knowledge of a woman. And if you're a man, well, what use is it to have the knowledge of a woman? So they have to have well, hopefully a biological man as a father. You will understand all this, let's say everything which is kind of around in being a man. So all the relationships, the friendships, the situation at work, the encounter of other people you don't even know, the how you deal with your family members, wife, everything is going to be very clear.
Hope
Yeah.
to see you in the course, guys. Wish you
Yeah.
the very best, however you decide.